Australia is the most mysterious country in the world with an uncountable number of secrets. It's rarely mentioned in the news, almost as if it doesn't exist. The incredible animals found here are unique to the local jungles and have no parallels in our world. Even the fence dividing the continent in half is heavily guarded by the military. But why? Could there be another hidden land behind Australia, fenced off? And if so, what's there? Let's delve into it. Australia is an entirely unique country with facts that distinctly set it apart from all others. Its rich natural world remains full of mysteries yet to be unraveled. We've learned from school textbooks that Australia was discovered by the English navigator James Cook in the 18th century. However, a century before that, Dutch sailors had already landed on its shores. Strangely, this fact isn't widely discussed. The name Australia itself isn't that old. Previously, it was called Terra Australis Incognita. Today, I want to tell you about the most enigmatic continent in the world, Australia. It's a vast territory with unknown contents. We'll explore the unique creatures here and try to understand what the local Aboriginals say about their land's history. Towards the end of the video, we'll discuss the most intriguing facts that simply don't fit into our known history. Despite this, someone managed an expedition from Australia directly to Antarctica. One of Australia's greatest mysteries remains its flora and fauna, where new, astonishing species are continually discovered. Currently, Australia boasts over 200,000 species of exotic creatures. Among them is the legged snake. But the most mysterious animals found only on this continent are the marsupials, kangaroos, marsupial moles, and until recently, marsupial wolves, whose population has now vanished completely. They were incredibly unique creatures that coexisted with us not too long ago. It seems like all these animals were artificially created, a mix of two species whose outcome we witness today. In Australia, the insects form a separate category of beings. Have you ever seen such gigantic stick insects? They seem more like a genetic mutation than ordinary insects. Australia is brimming with dangerous and venomous creatures, especially along its coastline, where a vast variety of venomous species can be found at every step. Interestingly, all life in Australia seems to exist solely along the coastline. Homes and cities are strictly placed beyond a certain line. But who drew this line, and more importantly, how was that boundary determined? Australia may seem like a green continent to tourists, but its origins are completely connected with the desert. Just take a look: solid plateaus, deserts, and mountainous areas. What about these incredible mountains? They are also exclusive to Australia. For a tourist, it's like getting into another world, but for locals, it's a common sight. How could such mountains form on the plain? Has nature worked so hard, or has it all been created by human hands who have yet to get to the historic forests? Huge trees consisting mainly of eucalyptus trees reaching a height of more than 200 feet. We all remember the sequoias in America's California that stood for centuries and were then systematically cut down. In Australia, however, things turned out quite differently. We recall the fires not too long ago that devastated the area, wiping out half of the animals. Can you imagine how many unique species vanished after those fires? The famous Tasmanian devil is now on the brink of extinction due to an unknown disease that's affecting the local wildlife en masse. While researching, I learned that Australia sometimes witnesses a rare meteorological phenomenon called the morning glory, a long cloud formation that can span thousands of kilometers. Locals say the nature of this unique occurrence hasn't been fully understood. But here's the thing: we can witness similar phenomena even without traveling to Australia. Here in America, it's not considered a rare event. What's concerning, however, is that rare species in Australia are falling ill, their populations dwindling. On the contrary, rabbits, of which there are a vast number, are multiplying endlessly. The entire continent of Australia is divided by a fence. According to official history, this wall began construction in the 19th century. This fence is unlike any other. It stretches as long as the famous Great Wall of China. Moreover, it is patrolled by armed soldiers. Its height exceeds 6 feet, and in some places it is electrified with solar panels that allow it to function around the clock. But rabbits, known for their burrowing abilities, could easily dig under the fence. If it was all about rabbits, they would have dug a fence into the ground to prevent burrows from appearing. It's quite curious. However, few people know that the matter is not limited to one fence. In fact, there are 3 fences in Australia. The third Australian wall, not so extensive, extends only 44 kilometers, but is a significant height of 10 feet. It surrounds the National Reserve and protects its inhabitants. Or is it? Can it restrict rather than guard, but from what? It's all pretty weird. What is the basis of this mysterious continent? Even if someone decides to drive around Australia on their own, they will be stopped immediately by patrols. Free travel and movement are prohibited in Australia. There are many fences, barbed wire, restrictions, even planes over Australia fly only on designated routes. But if someone dares to venture beyond the fence, fully aware of the rabid danger, and willingly agrees to the risks, they'll still face imprisonment or hefty fines. What's so dreadful to see animals or perhaps intentionally keep people away from the heart of the continent? Moreover, even indigenous people, the Bushmen, are prohibited from crossing the fence. Odd, isn't it? The Bushmen lived in these lands for millennia, moving freely across these territories. Locals sometimes talk about times when fences didn't exist at all. We lived freely, went where we wanted, even to snowy lands. If you travel through the desert for a long time, you'll reach an icy wall beyond which lie snowy expanses, they say. By the way, did you know that in the southern part of Australia, there are snow-capped mountains with more snow than the alpine ski resorts? But how is that possible? We all know the modern map and are used to seeing Australia as entirely desolate. But what if these present-day maps don't reflect reality? There are theories that suggest Australia is connected to Antarctica, which is precisely why this tall fence was constructed. It all makes sense if you look at medieval maps where there's no boundary between Australia and Antarctica. They're depicted as one single continent. Australia, as shown in a map from the 16th century, contrasts starkly with the modern world map. Let's scrutinize the old map of Australia closely. In the region where it's situated, there's a large landmass that is one with Antarctica, referred to as Megalonychus Terra Australis. This isn't just one map, there are numerous maps like this. Many only pay attention to the map as a whole, but few have examined it in detail. Have you noticed the creatures depicted on it that inhabited these lands not too long ago? Here, we can observe familiar kangaroos, camels, rhinoceroses, as well as mythical creatures like unicorns and winged lions. People worldwide encountered unusual beings in the past, which are now mere tales and fantasies. But could they have been real? If the map depicts a one-humped camel that still exists on the island, it's possible that other creatures might have existed or perhaps still exist in the closed-off part of the continent. What could this territory be that they're trying so hard to hide from prying eyes? Few know, but an expedition was even undertaken because of Australia, one that few have heard about. They ventured into lands where no human had set foot before. As for the photos of penguins in Australia, Macquarie Island, there's not much detailed information online for understandable reasons. Yet, this situation gives ample reason to ponder. Friends, I truly put in a lot of effort for you. I delve into the questions, create the videos entirely myself. Seek information that would be interesting and useful to you, as long as it prompts contemplation. I'd be immensely grateful if you could support me, share the video, and subscribe. I simply want to open as many eyes as possible. News from Australia is rather scarce, and they don't particularly emphasize it. Did you know, for example, about the latest news from Australia? For some reason, in Australia, they've decided to build an Earth black box in case of humanity's demise. The box's task will be to record every step in case of any catastrophe, and its size will be comparable to that of a bus. Can you imagine? It's also equipped with solar panels, but why? What awaits us in the near future? Why build a black box in case of an apocalypse, and why choose Australia specifically? What do you think? Write your opinions in the comments about this. My name is Professor Aristotle, and until our next meeting on the channel, good luck.